I think they want to assure China that economic integration is going to keep going forward. I mean, I think we're having a debate here in this country about the extent of global integration, about whether we're going to have actual decoupling or what the Europeans have put forward with regard to de-risking. And decoupling is now a bad word in China. And Janet Yellen is going over there to plant the flag on behalf of this administration that they are not for those who want to ensure that businesses, when they make a decision, are going to make it here in the Western Hemisphere or going to make it in terms of having facilities in China and expanding their businesses there. And I think that's really why she's going, to plant that flag firmly.
You know, plant the flag, but the flag has already been planted, it seems. So the senior Treasury official tells me that they expect to have or ask for more market access when going forward. It seems they're almost starting over at step one. Well, the U.S. has a phase one trade deal that lays out in black and white why exactly or how exactly China should open its markets, how we get protection of intellectual property. So why are we starting at ground zero, it seems, again?
The problem with this administration not using the Trump phase one deal is that it will show that China is not in compliance. And they don't want that negative information. They don't want to be on that track. They want to be on a path to be able to say, everything's good, we're going to go forward. We may have to do a few things around the edges to be able to say that we're taking a hard line with regard to China. But don't worry, behind closed doors, Janet Yellen is here to tell you that everything is moving forward. If you were a business considering doing business with China, keep going forward as if the last 20 years, that gravy train is firmly in place.
But doesn't that slow walk those protections that American companies have been asking for and need?
Yeah, I mean, from the standpoint of the way that the Chinese economy and their Communist Party has hurt businesses, and as a result, businesses have not been able to have the protection of the United States, those kinds of hard, chunky steps are not going to be able to go forward with regard to policy changes, and we're just going to be able to see the last 20 years moving forward.
How would you handle the Chinese then at this point?
Aggressive economic decoupling. I'd be sending the signal far and wide that we are not going to take policy changes. We are going to insist on policy changes that make it very, very hard for companies to continue to do business in China. We're going to bring those home to American shores and then be able to confront China militarily. And that doesn't mean you don't overturn things like strategic ambiguity, but when it comes to, does the Chinese government know that they have a United States military that is prepared to confront them, able to confront them? That is something that I think should be done.
And taking those steps, that would bring China to the table, right? And then you could negotiate from there. You're not saying maybe actually do it. You're saying that we need to start doing it, start threatening it, and then we can talk to them about truly making change.
I think that there are economic and national security steps that should be taken. Under our administration, we took steps against Huawei. We haven't done that with regard to TikTok. Why hasn't that happened? That shouldn't be a negotiation. That should be done unilaterally. And then China can react to it. And they say, do we want to keep going down this road? But again, they're a Communist Party regime. I don't think we're ever going to be in a situation where we can trust that our companies can do business in their country without having their business secrets violated and taken away. So this is something that long term is going to be good for our country, even if China decides that they're going to be less military aggressive to their neighbors.
In the last 30 seconds, are we coming at this from a position of strength then?
No. I mean, anytime you're trying to do negotiations for the purpose of negotiations so that you feel the need that you have to go and make a speech that's against your interest in saying that decoupling is not in American interest, every time you do that, you're approaching it from weakness. And so there's a reason why Anthony Blinken had a hard time getting Xi's attention and getting that visit. Yellen doesn't sound like she's aiming that high, but yeah, well, this is being done from a position of weakness.